I know you. I know how you're feeling. You're upset, you're sad, you're angry, you're frustrated, you're lost. You don't know what to do anymore. They feel like a weight around your neck, really dragging you down. I get it. If you can give me a few minutes of your time, I think I might have a solution to your problem. What I want to talk about are friends and relationships, particularly the bad ones. Bad friends drag you to a place you don't want to be. They have you living a life you don't want to live. And they're having you feel in ways you'd rather not be feeling. I get it. I do. Friends are complicated, but there is a pretty simple hierarchy to it. At the top, you have good friends. Below that, you have no friends. And at the very bottom, you have bad friends. Now, I'm not saying go off, be a lone wolf, have no friends. That doesn't work. Humans are social creatures. And without a bit of connection, we kind of go crazy. No, I'm not saying have no friends at all, but I'm making it pretty clear. Bad friends are worse than having no friends at all. And I get it. I'm hearing it. I got this feedback to the video about friends I made before. If getting rid of bad friends was that easy, nobody would have them. Duh. So, what are you saying? Well, I'm answering that. I'm going to tell you a way that you can deal with these bad friends to get rid of them for good. So, let me start with my own story. I once had a best friend, a guy I was super close with. We got on like a house on fire. It was a riot every time we hung out. So we were always talking, always hanging out, always doing things together. It was great at first, but there were problems. This guy was a chronic liar. Telling the truth was just really hard for him. And every now and then he'd do some pretty scummy things. The kind of things that I really didn't want to associate with, didn't want to do, didn't want to be around. But, things were great. We were still having a riot. I could ignore those things. And we all have friends like that, it's mostly good, everything's all right. But then things start to get worse. There's more negativity, it's harder to be around, there's more of that behavior that you're just not comfortable with. And they say you're a reflection of the 3 closest people around you, and you start to feel it. The more you hang around those kind of attitudes, the more you embody them, the more you take part, the more you do it. Again, this is why bad friends are worse than no friends. So it got worse and worse. Eventually I'd started feeling pretty crappy about things. We'd hang out and somehow I'd be left feeling worse. I'd be feeling down, I'd be feeling lonely even after hanging out. And that wasn't great. It wasn't a great feeling. And I'm sure a lot of you have felt similar things. If you're here, you're watching this, sadly I think it's a common experience. We crave connection as humans, and if we can't get that in a good place, we often settle for getting it wherever we can. So what can we do about it? What did I try and do? Well, this guy was my best mate. I cared about him. So I tried talking to him at first. And that didn't really pan out well. There was always a denial of the bad behavior. Oh, no, that didn't happen. Oh, okay. But if you'd managed to catch him in okay, that did happen. Well, it did happen, but here's why. Here's an excuse. Here's a reason. Here's some justification that you couldn't really argue with, or you became the bad guy. And it wasn't great. Didn't work out. So I'm sure a lot of you have tried similar things. You've got this problem, you try and do the right thing and talk about it, resolve it, but it doesn't work. Great. So what's next? What did I try? Well, I had a few other friends and we all felt the same way, and we thought, well, what if we all talked about him together? Sort of intervention style, Yeah, that didn't work. Immediately it was, we're singling him out, we're attacking him, this is bullying. Okay, great. That didn't work either. You know, this guy was stickier than glue. You know, I was starting feeling bad hanging out, so I tried to not hang out as much, tried to talk about it a bit. But as soon as there was even an inkling of me trying to pull away, this guy was on me, you know? It was difficult. I was feeling a bit lost. Didn't know what to do. I think a lot of people are still in that spot, or at the very least have experienced that. So what could I do? What have you done? What have you tried? What would you do in this situation? Well, for me, things got worse. You know, I tried talking about it, but one day I found out that this guy had hooked up with an ex of mine at a party. And so I said, I need to talk to him about this. I need to get this out there. This is super uncomfortable. This is a dog act. I needed to get this out there. So I went to this guy and I asked him what happened at this party. And he lied to my face. And so when I told him I knew what had happened, then come the excuses. Then come the justifications, the everything. And I didn't respond. I just left it there. Because I'd heard some advice. It happened to come at a really good time. And I decided to put it in action, to try something new. You see, these kinds of people in your life, they want a scene. They want a show. They want a conflict or a controversy to feed off. So you just got to not give it to them. You've just got to walk away. You can't tell them you're leaving. You can't make a scene of it. You can't talk it up. You just got to leave. And that's what I did. Now, it's important for me to note that, you know, walking away and not addressing it, it's not about condoning their behavior. It's about giving yourself the grace to live a better life. You might feel angry, you might feel aggrieved, but holding on to that only makes your own life harder. In the case with this friend I had, I realized that it wasn't a him problem. It was a me problem. I needed to get past this. And so I walked away. I was angry, I was upset, I was really hurt, but I just walked away. And it was hard. This guy was my best friend. All of our friends were super entwined and close, but I couldn't keep doing this to myself. I couldn't keep putting myself in these situations that would make me feel like this. And again, it was really hard, but it was worth it. That was 3 years ago now. It's crazy to think about that. And my life's better for it. I had that rough patch where I had almost no friends and no connection, and I was really lonely. But that loneliness spurred me into working harder to change my life. And then that sort of led into the other video I've made about making friends and how that all went. But this was the important first step. As I mentioned in some of those other videos, it's about cutting the dead weight. And it ain't easy, but you can make it easier. Don't make a scene of it. Don't talk it up. Just walk away. Give yourself the grace to live a better life. And so, if you made it all this way, you've probably got a similar situation on your hands, and you've been a bit lost on what to do. And I can't tell you exactly what to do for your situation. I can only tell you what worked for me, what I did. And now it's up to you. So, what are you going to do?